What's going on, everyone? I got Justin and Larry in the building today. Justin, want to give a little introduction, who you are and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. Justin Conrad with North Point Bank Providence. I'm a senior loan officer here at the company. Been in the business for 28 years, helping people buy, refinance, and educate them on the process of buying.
Yeah. All right, guys, and Larry. We got Larry in the building. Justin, being a loan officer, I'm a real estate agent. We help Larry purchase his first home.
Yep.
And Larry does a lot of other things besides just buy homes. He does music production, video, and stuff. So why don't you get into a little bit about what you do, Larry, and what you do every day?
Yeah, my name is Larry. I'm a music producer. Been doing this over 20 years now, and now I'm in the educational space in music production. Also, content creator, sell my own products. I do a lot of different stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the big software you use? I always see you're posting. It's a carrot. What's the carrot mean to you?
FL Studio. It's not a carrot. It looks like a carrot.
Oh, it's not.
There's a big debate on what this thing is. Some people say it's like a strawberry, a mango, or a strawberry and a mango combined,
All right.
or it's this other fruit called a persimmon. I never even heard of it in my life. But like this is like big online debate about what the hell it is. But it's like supposedly a strawberry that's morphed into something else.
And what is it? Is it a software?
It's a software to create music on. So it's been around for like 25 years now, maybe a little bit longer. It didn't start out as a music production software. It started out as some guy that wanted to create some sort of like weird video game style stuff. And then he was doing video game stuff and wanted to create music within the video game, I believe, and then created this software, and it just skyrocketed. So it's like a lot of producers and people that are in music complain about how different it is, but that's the reason why it's so different. It just came out of left field, not from a musician, just somebody that created
it's created
software
from a different animal.
Yeah,
basically.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
that's why.
Yeah, I'm guessing there's a lot of different software in the music space.
Yeah, a decent amount.
Yeah.
Yeah. As far as like programs that help you make music,
Right.
they're called DAWs, DAWs.
Okay.
It's a digital audio workstation.
And
there's a bunch
yours
of
is the
them.
best.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the best for me.
Yeah.
I got kind of lucky. I could like build a career out of,
Yeah.
something that they continuously like upgrade and update on a,
Yeah,
monthly
so
basis.
talk about that a little bit, because we were
Yeah.
chatting earlier, kind of behind the scenes, and you were talking about how your career started, what you were doing early on,
Yep.
and then kind of how that changed. You adapted to some of the changes in your arena, and so talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I started out making music probably when I was like 18, 19. I'm 39 now. So
And is that making like beats or you playing instruments?
I started making beats
So
on
beats.
FL Studio. So I wanted to learn out of high school. First off, like nobody in my family and friend group did music at all whatsoever. So it was just like an obsession thing right away. I love listening to music. I had like the big speaker system in the car. I had the subs.
yeah.
I had the JL.
I think we all went through that.
I had 3 JLs in the back,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
six 6x9s going across the back of a '94 Explorer. It was outrageous, like 2 amps.
Yeah, classic.
Stupid, but like I was obsessed with beats,
Yep.
and I barely pay attention to the lyrics. I was all about the beats. I was like,
Yeah.
I got to figure out how to make beats. How can I make beats? How
That's
can I
how
do
they
this?
draw the people in
Yeah.
with that beat.
Yep. So I'm like, how can I make beats? I was researching, whether it was probably Google. Google's around it then, I believe. It had to
Yeah.
be Google. And I'm searching, and at that time it was like all forums. So ImageLine is the company that owns FL Studio, right? So ImageLine has always had these forums, and those popped up first.
Yeah.
FL Studio. So I got FL Studio, read the forums on how to use it, and just became completely obsessed with it when I was like 18, 19.
Yep.
And then from there,
Now, was it a competitive space at that time?
I didn't even know if there was a space at that
Gotcha.
time. Like I didn't even know nobody was even using
It was just
FL
a hobby
Studio
right
really.
now.
You were
Nobody,
figuring it out.
Yeah, nobody in the industry was even using FL Studio at that point. Everybody at that point was hardware. Everybody was keyboards and MPCs. So like see these like pads right here? There's this thing called an Akai MPC where you load up, you sample things and you play them out on those kinds of pads right there. That was like the thing to do.
Yeah.
And that was the way you made beats then. So I got looked at like, the hell are you doing? Like,
Yeah, an innovator, but completely different.
yeah. So and then, but people were starting to really utilize this program at that point, and it was on the come up big time. I just happened to fall into it and do a little bit of research, and that popped up first in a search.
Yeah.
And I just started using it, figuring out how to use it. But from there, I got introduced to a couple people that were like in a band,
Yeah.
became cool with them. And then somehow I was like, yo, I want to learn how to play drums. Learned how to play drums.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
At
I didn't know
21, at late age.
Do
21.
you still play drums now?
Not really.
Yeah.
No. But I mean.
But does it help you with the music?
So that's funny. I think a mix between me being like a little bit like ambidextrous, not like so much, and the fact that I was already making beats helped me like learn drums quick. I never got like super good at drums, but I got good enough to join a band, and we did a lot of cool stuff though. We started the band I think in like 08, 09. And then we had a good run. We got signed to a small label. We did Warped Tour.
Oh wow.
2014. We did the whole entire Warped Tour. We did a lot of regional touring, some national touring, and then to speed that up, like in 2017, the band kind of just like, dismembered. We went our separate ways. I stayed in the studio that we were at on Charles Street.
And when you were playing in the band, were you still dabbling with making beats on the
Yeah, always. Yeah. Whenever the band was going, I was still making beats because the goal with the band, it was a hip hop metal band. So the goal with the band was to incorporate the beat stuff into the live music stuff. So that became a thing. We did that, but all, to make some extra money throughout that whole process, I was like recording clients. We were going to local shows. We were doing a lot of local shows. A lot of rappers and singers I would, link up with and get in the studio, record them.
Yeah.
Charge them like, $15 an hour,
And
$20 an hour.
when someone's recording with the rapper, are you just making sure their audio is always to the right volume? Like, what are you doing?
It's that to begin with, yeah.
Yeah.
So like right now, you see like these levels jumping, you don't want them to hit red. That's like first and foremost. You don't want things clipping, and then you get those levels right so that they can hear themselves right. And then after that, it's like a lot of technical stuff, like mixing and editing to kind of put a full song together. And my thing was always, because I was into the beat making stuff and the production style, I wouldn't only just record them, I would like make a full song out of it. I would add dynamic to it. So word of mouth around Providence was like, yo, go to Larry, he's really good with the recording stuff. And I would get a lot of clients just from word of mouth. And then when the band stopped, I had a full-time clientele list of just coming in and out of the studio. So I was there like, I was doing studio sessions like all day, every day, pretty much.
And this is aside from beat making. That's still just kind of a hobby.
Yeah, that I would use that to kind of upsell in a sense.
Right,
I would use that,
Gotcha.
and I would be like, hey,
I would
get people in through recording, and then I really didn't even plan it like that. But I'm like, yo, this is a good way to sell beats. Let me just keep getting more. Else. Yeah, and then friends would talk to friends, go to Larry to record, and then before you know it, I'm like selling beats and I'm doing deals. You get a beat from me, and the recording session's free or whatever the case is.
I would say, and that's wild how building that referral brand, that network, similar to like what we do, right?
It's the same.
We're all out here trying to build our reputation and our brand and our name, so people will come to us. So it's similar to what we're doing here, just trying to do the right thing.
It's the same.
Yeah,
it's the same. It's all relationship based. It's all word of a lot. I mean, you got to do your advertising and you got to do that sort of marketing stuff. I mean, you got to do it, but don't you feel like I feel like the most that you get out of it is like through word of mouth. Like the best clients that you get, the best relationships that you get is all through like word of mouth. And this guy's a good guy. You got to go with him. You got to go see him. He's a good dude. I feel like that's just
when you do
a huge part
when you do right by somebody,
Yeah.
They'll tend to share that with others, and they'll gravitate towards you for that. Yeah,
It'd be
100%.
sick if Larry threw like a past client party and everyone came in and sang like their hottest hit they had with Larry. That'd be a whole party.
That would be good. That would be good. Any other instruments that you play besides drums?
No, just drums. I play FL Studio and I play drums.
Okay,
But that's it. I can like make sense on a keyboard.
Yep.
I can't sit there and play like chord progressions and like I can like play basic things and maybe do some lead like top melody stuff with one hand. It's when you get two hands involved I can't.
Yeah.
The amount of talent that's needed
Yeah.
to be able to play an instrument, the practice that goes in, it's
insane.
It's wild.
Yeah.
It's
That's why I never became that good at drums.
Yeah.
I was like good enough I could hold a beat. We did a lot of shows and I had a lot of fun with it. And it was, directly related to what I had already been doing, was making beats. So that helped me learn how to play drums a lot faster than somebody else. I knew a count. I knew rhythm.
Yeah. We talked about AI a little bit too.
Yeah.
I know that's something that's affected our business a little bit.
I was going to say that too. Like, how does it affect
AI been with you?
Yeah, it's been a huge topic of conversation. I feel like pretty much in every field it's been like that, So I think in music, There's a couple of companies that, are not doing the right thing, and everybody's like, what is this? We don't like this. We don't want it. There's a couple of companies that are coming in and trying to say like, oh, musicians don't really like to make music. Nobody really likes to make music, so we have this software that is doing it basically does everything for you. Like you can like put information in and it spits out a whole song.
But isn't that the fun?
That's the fun of it. There's people that know that they're going to make no money off of music that still just love to make music.
Yeah.
So there's a couple like that, but there's also, I think 98% of the companies are like trying to really help producers and help musicians just make music a little bit faster and just kind of like get over that hurdle of maybe beat block or writer's block. And it should
be used as an enhancement to the process, not the process.
Exactly.
Yep. Yeah.
If something like we were talking, like I'm sure you guys utilize AI a lot in a sense of maybe using like a chat GPT to write up a contract or to write up a document or to help you write it.
Yep.
Maybe you put, I use that a lot too. I use that every day in my life right now. Chat GPT. It's one of the best things.
No, it's a great tool, but it will never replace that human element.
No.
One thing about what Jay and I do, I think, is that, that human element is so important, so key, those relationships, that trust that you build. You can't build that with a bot.
No.
A person doesn't have that relationship. So, folks have said as AI was coming to fruition and as it was hitting that, it's going to replace this job, it's going to replace that job. My belief is that we will never be replaced, at least in my field. And I assume yours too, because of that personal relationship, that need for that.
Yeah.
And I think that if you guys, your field continues to do what it does, then it's going to have that same impact. It's an enhancement to what you do, but it's never going to replace what you do. It's never going to change that relationship, that trust, that brand that's able to be built.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's not going to completely replace anything or anybody.
Yep.
It's going to enhance. And at some point, you may feel like it's replacing something or somebody, but I think it will level out because I saw this video, how was it the other day? It was like, sales are going to go more in person than they have in a long time because of AI. Because people are going to be like, I can't trust whatever this is right now, so I have to go like see somebody face to face to get. I
don't know if I'm talking to.
I don't know who I'm talking to.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to get hip to that at some point, and they're going to be like, I don't know what's real anymore, and I just don't feel that connection. So I'm going to drive downtown and I'm going to go meet with this person face to face, and that's how I'm going to do this.
I'll give you a good analogy. I think that for a while it was the best deal you can find, major corporations, whatever. And then maybe about like 10, 12 years ago, everything switched to local, right? It became like buy local, Rhode Island has that, shop local day or whatever it is. So you saw that transition away from, local businesses are going to get crushed with these big corporations. And 10 or 12 years ago, that changed to, go local, stay away from those big corporations. So, I feel the same applies here with AI. And to your point, I think it's going to be more in person, more networking, more relationship building than to build that level of comfort and trust.
Yeah.
That goes a long way in what we're doing. I think what you do. I'd like to get into our experience, all three of us together.
Right. I want to get into one more thing about what he plays.
Okay.
Larry plays the drums, he plays the studio, but you play social media.
Oh yeah, that's my business, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so tell us a little bit. We play social media hard too in our career. So
you have to.
Why don't you talk about how important social media is, give some people some tips on how to post, because I know a lot of people as a real estate agent, they don't feel comfortable to post, and also talk about the algorithm a little.
Yeah. So for a long time, I was dabbling in different styles of content because I realized that at a certain point that was the way, even locally, you mentioned local, I was trying to get some more clients in there and I was using social media in that way to just do local stuff, right? But then at a certain point, dabbling in different styles of content, I stumbled on the educational stuff. I was just trying different things out. At one point I was doing like beat making videos. I was trying to get more beat sales. I was doing some showing some recording clients in the studio and then trying to get more recording clients. And then, people would spread that around locally. So it helped in that sense, and then stumbled across the educational stuff. And it was just like night and day. I loved right away. I just loved to do it. Yeah. And I noticed that it was like sparking conversation in the comments. And I'm realizing like real quickly that this is going to be a huge part of my business and what I'm doing. Because I always had the mentality of like, I have to make a living off of this. And it might not be in the traditional sense of me like selling beats or like getting a major placement or winning a Grammy or, you know, working in the studio with Timbaland or whoever.
Right.
And that's a long shot. And I'm realizing that right away, you know, like at the beginning of doing all this, I'm like, so something else has to click, or maybe a few things have to click in order for me to make a living off of this. So I'm like really going hard with the social media for years.
Yeah.
Trying a whole bunch of different things. Got to the educational side of content, and it just kind of took off. And this is probably 2017, 2018-ish.
Yeah, I want to add there, like Larry got the blue check mark on Instagram before you could pay for it.
Before you pay for it, yeah. I got the legit one, the OG check mark, the OG verified. Yeah, and that had a lot to do, honestly, like that getting verified at that point had a lot to do with me putting out my own music, my name being in like some articles, in if you did a Google search, you know, because my music was all over Spotify and Apple Music and all that stuff. That used to go along with that if you wanted to be verified, or if they just, you know, decide that your page needs to be verified. But doing the educational content right away, I was like, yo, this is something I gotta, because people want to learn. I know that I can probably fill a void, especially on Instagram. Yeah. That was where I dabbled. I did some stuff on YouTube, and I was like, this like is just not clicking. I don't really know how to do this. I don't consume YouTube as much in that aspect. Yeah. You know what I mean? In that like thing, with that like train of thought. But like, I did Instagram. I was like, I consume Instagram all day, every day. So I know what to do here.
Yep.
I know the style of
go
posting.
where you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do something here. And nobody at that point was doing educational stuff on FL Studio in the 1 minute or, it was like 30-second videos at that point. They were only allowing 30-second videos. I was like, there's nobody doing these educational videos in 30 seconds. Started doing it, they just started like blowing up like crazy. I was getting thousands of followers a week. Sometimes 1,000 a day.
Just little blurbs of info.
Yeah, and it'd be like a 30-second. I got my screen recording down, so I got like screen recording software, which is like free. I just did voiceovers. I wasn't on camera at all.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be on camera. Right. I was like nervous at that point, but I did screen recordings, so the quality was decent, and a voiceover. And then that's how I started out. And then little by little, I put my face on a cartoon logo, so I had a little bit of branding. Yeah. I still have this like stupid catchphrase that I added. You get me at the end of everything. It's like, share this with a friend if you get me. So it just became a thing, and then people would use it in the comments. It was a funny thing. Yeah. So it all goes to branding and your message. Yep. So that just built.
Did you ever think that you would? I don't know how you did in school.
But
good. Did you ever find yourself or think that you would be on the educational side of things? Like basically teaching something?
Never. Yeah. But now that I look back, half of my family is like teachers on my mother's side, and the other half is like nurses. Yeah. And then my mother's retired now, but like, before she retired, she's teaching nursing. So it's like my aunt's a teacher, principal, my cousins teachers. So it's like without even realizing, I think it's just like in the blood. And I was always like that in the studio, like in person. If somebody had a question, or even if it was like unsolicited advice, I would just start like spewing off at the mouth of like just different things that I could feel like I could help them with. You know what I mean?
I think when you find something that you love and you're passionate about it, you want to share that with everybody, right? And that attracts people. Yeah. So good job, kudos to you on that.
Yeah. And I know. So you said you wanted to make a living off of making music. Yeah. And you sure did. You bought a beautiful home.
Thanks.
Nice segue.
Larry bought a beautiful home here with us, so you can kind of take it up there.
I was gonna say.
Where's the applause?
Why don't we take it home now? All right.
Like that. That was a good segue, but yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jay.
Well, you can take it here.
No.
Well, I guess so. Yeah, you bought your first house.
Right? Yeah, first. Yeah, I rented
3 years ago.
Yeah, 3 years ago, probably to date now.
Yeah,
I think
just about. Yep.
I remember closing at the very end of March, and I think walking in maybe it might have been like April 4th. I think I don't know why the 4th sticks out in my mind, but yeah. 3 years.
Yeah, so I guess how did you get connected? I think it was first to Justin.
I got
Yeah.
connected because we share a barber.
Yep.
Yeah. So shout out
You
to
guys still got the
Jay.
same barber?
Yeah. Well,
I'm a shout out.
yeah, Jay.
Shout out to Jay at Taylor.
Jay Fades at Taylor.
Yeah.
Yeah, one
He's
of
in
my
the
one of my best friends.
educational side of things
He
too.
is.
Cutting
the,
hair?
with the
Yeah.
barbershop.
Content?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Did you
yeah.
help him with that, or is that kind of?
Oh
his
no,
idea?
he's doing his own thing, man.
That's
he's,
cool.
He's a
Yeah.
beast. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's so good at what he does.
Yeah, he does a great job
Yeah.
cutting hair, and then he's passionate about it. You know,
Yeah.
he doesn't just bang people out
That's
in
the
20
thing.
minutes and cut their hair. He spends time with them, cares about his craft,
Yep.
and yeah, got tapped in to be an ambassador and do some stuff globally. Is what it is actually. It's a
Yeah.
Oh,
global
really?
ambassadorship.
Yeah. He's done a lot of
Um,
traveling,
yeah.
a lot of traveling
training,
classes.
yeah, a lot of classes, online
Yeah.
stuff, and yeah, just building his brand, something that he's passionate about.
Yeah.
So that's how we connected.
Mhm.
Yep.
And it was at an interesting time, right? It was probably just coming off COVID, like
Yeah.
I think so.
early 2022.
Pretty much. Yeah.
I don't know, all those months kind of.
Yeah, well, we started talking. We started talking before that New Year, and we're like, all right, we got to get some stuff straightened out.
But the
so that way,
market
at the
was
top of the
definitely
year, we
flying.
can start looking.
Yeah.
The market
So-
was still hot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, but it was a grind for buyers.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I had buyers at that time that had probably seen 10, 15 houses before they were getting offers accepted. And, you know, so it was something that we prepared you for.
Yeah.
You know, we let you know that. I think the expectations
Yeah.
were set, and
Yeah.
you were kind of ready for that. We connected you with Jay.
Yep.
And, Jay, what happened from there? We saw a couple houses.
Yeah, I
one or
think
two.
we could have had. I was under 10 homes. I think. We
Well,
looked at.
I think
Less
it was
than
like
5.
two.
Yeah.
I think the amount that we saw together,
Yeah.
I think was like maybe 2,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it was.
This
like,
was our
like
first one you offered on.
first offer. Yeah.
Yeah.
This was the first one that we went through, and I don't think you were with us. Were you with us in the open house for that one?
I don't think so.
But we liked
I
it.
don't
We were telling you,
remember.
yo, we love it, and
Yeah.
then we put an offer on it and got it
Yep.
like quick.
So
There was no, like,
well-crafted
battle.
offer.
Yeah.
Listing agent that I had a relationship with, and North Point had a relationship with. So we were able to put it together. First offer you submitted,
Yeah.
accepted,
And do you remember at this point at all? Were you ever thinking, maybe we should wait? The market's hot. Maybe we should hold off. Was there any hesitant to buying in that market?
or
I was definitely like on my toes about it,
Yeah.
everything. I was definitely like, when you mentioned it too, we had conversations beforehand about what the market was like and prices getting crazy and people not doing inspections
Yeah.
and waiving this and waiving that. And I was telling my wife, I said, hey, listen, be prepared to
Right.
not have anything for a year.
Right.
Yeah, be prepared. This might
Right.
take us a year to find a house that we like, that we can afford, that we can, not get into getting into like some dump, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just to get into it.
Right.
So it's like, be prepared for that. But we ended up just getting super lucky. I think because it goes back to that whole relationship thing.
Yeah.
I have a relationship with Jay. Jay had a relationship with you to begin with. We connected.
You had the relationship.
You had the relationship with the seller's agent.
Yeah.
It's all relationship based.
Yeah.
The reason why that whole thing worked is all relationships.
Yep. So I think one of the questions that I had about that time for you was, what the feedback was from, like, say, friends and family. A lot of people now at that time in 2019 were saying, the market's hot, it's not favorable for buyers, wait for the market to crash. You hear people saying it now, don't buy, wait for the market to crash. Speaking on numbers, if I may,
Yeah.
what did you pay for the house?
$490. It was, I think, listed for $480.
Yep.
We offered $490 because
Yep.
of the market. You suggested let's offer a little bit more,
Yep.
but ended up getting it right away
with the home inspection.
with an inspection. We didn't
Yeah.
like waive anything. We went
Yeah.
through everything the right way. We
Yep.
like went through everything. It was just like, I think, a perfect storm of relationships, the situation, maybe the time of year. I mean,
Yeah.
the stars just aligned for it.
Yep.
But yeah, we got in
You
at
got a
$490.
great interest rate,
Yes.
and then fast forward to right
yeah,
now.
one sec. Yeah, so at that point, when I asked you, were you having any doubts? Because a lot of people, and he asked, was your sphere of influence saying, Larry, like, stop, because it's happening now. And let's say the typical person, not the typical, on average, it's happening a lot right now. They listened and they did get scared and pause.
Yep.
You would have lost out on how much equity
Yeah.
did we evaluate?
Yeah, so we checked it today, and it's worth about 640.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 140, 150,000 in equity,
Crazy.
and you'd be at a rate, you know, in the sixes today
Crazy.
versus where you're at right now, which is drastically less. So,
Yeah.
you know, I think the point of you know what happened with you is you didn't wait. You know, you bought when it was right for you,
Yep.
and you bought at a payment that worked for you. And that's something Jay and I have always leaned on with each other. It's something that we agree on tremendously. At the end of the day, you know, buying a home that's within your budget is the key.
Yeah.
You know, waiting for a market to crash or waiting for rates to drop is almost an unrealistic wish. It's an unrealistic goal. You don't know when it's going to happen. And the reality is so much can go against you during that time. You may get a lower interest rate, but you're paying 30, 40,000 more for the house.
Right.
You know, so there's a lot that goes along with that. But that's a great story of you,
It's awesome, yeah.
Right.
you know, buying when it was right for you, and then the reward that you're reaping now, 150,000
Yeah.
in equity, a great affordable payment.
Right, like if you waited those 4 years because you wanted to save up, you might have saved up 20 grand,
Yeah.
but you just made 140 grand by just acting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In
Yep.
equity.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
another
exactly.
thing to think about.
Yep. Just pulling the trigger at the right time, I think, and kind of going with your gut and paying attention to like what's going on. I'm not an expert in this by any means, but you know, coming to you guys for advice and other friends for advice and just like paying attention to what's going on.
Yeah.
Like I feel like you gotta really just do your research, you know, and I knew that going into it. I'm like, the market's getting kind of crazy right now. We're probably gonna pay, you know, more than anybody's ever paid for this house.
Yep.
And then looking back, even at that time, I'm realizing, damn, somebody bought this house for $250.
Yeah.
And I'm buying it for $490.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
But now look at it now 3 years later.
Yep. And
It's
it's
saying the same thing.
I think a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
Right. They look at, oh, this guy paid $250 4 years ago.
Yeah,
for
Jay,
it.
you just bought the house
Why should I
last
give
year.
him $500?
Yeah.
Well, everything around's worth $500, and you didn't buy it at $250 4 years ago. You know,
It is
So
what
it's
it
kind
is.
Yeah, it's kind
Yeah.
of what it is. And,
Yeah.
and real estate, through his history, has always done what?
Appreciate it.
It always does.
Always. So-
That's another thing that I've learned, you know, in that process and just in general, just because you know, like social media is my job, and because of that, I'm always on it, and I'm always paying attention to certain things, especially when I'm about to make a purchase on anything. I'm like researching.
Well,
My
my
wife
starts
probably
coming
hates
up
it.
on your social
Yeah.
media, right?
Yeah.
It's always in front of you.
So I'm like, I end up following all these like real estate pages and like reading all these real estate
Yeah.
articles and like seeing what, you know, all the different types of content based around that stuff, and that goes for anything that I'm about to purchase.
Yep.
I'm researching, you know,
Yeah, you want to know
everything about it. Yeah, and
you
that
wanna
goes for
know.
like anything, and my wife kind of hates it because I'm like, she's like, oh, you've been doing this for like a week. I'm like, well, that's what it takes sometimes. I'm not trying to get like screwed out of this, and I want to understand what I'm doing. I have to understand what I'm doing.
Every time I'm going to go away,
Yeah.
I look at a hotel for about 3 weeks
Yeah.
to see if I can. That price is going to change or go down, and then I finally. My
Yeah.
wife's like, just book the hotel.
Yeah.
Just book it.
Yeah,
It's not
and I'm
gonna
looking at
change.
like different combinations of like, oh, what if
Yeah.
I do this here and this here, and
It's so funny.
just,
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just in
Yeah.
me to do that.
I think I appreciate your time.
Yeah,
It was
of
great
course.
having you. Thank you for coming in. We appreciate your time and telling your story with us. I think
Thanks,
that.
Larry.
Yeah, thank
Appreciate
you.
I think
that.
that having a good team around you is going to be important to get your real estate goals accomplished, and Jay and I are here to help you with that. And Larry's a testament to that, so we appreciate that. And we're going to part with one last thing.
Now you
You
get me.